They did it! Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney. If you can't tell by the voice crack there at the beginning, the IceHogs won tonight in game number 2 against the Texas Stars, and in the best of 3 series, winning the first 2 games means you are done. The Rockford IceHogs swept Texas. They're done with them. They are on to the second round. And of course, waiting for the IceHogs in the second round is their I-90 rival, the Chicago Wolves, but I am not going to spend this happy, wonderful night thinking about the Chicago Wolves. So before that series starts on Thursday, there will be a preview video for that. We're not going to waste time on that team right now. We're going to talk about this wonderful team from Rockford, the IceHogs, that won. They swept the Texas Stars. The team that knocked them out of the playoffs back in 2018, the last time they made the playoffs, when Jeremy Colleton was the head coach of the team. It's been that long. There's been some pretty poor seasons here in Rockford, but starting last year, even though the team didn't play all that well, at least from what the standings would tell you, there was still promise with this team that was full of rookies. You could see the talent, and then they get the talent infusion of Lukas Reichel into the lineup this year, and this team is something special. Yeah, it's only 2 games. It's only 1 series in the playoffs so far, but it just fills me with so much joy being a fan of this team, seeing how they play out there on the ice, watching the prospects who will one day be Blackhawks or be in the NHL somewhere else, seeing them really grow their games this year and making the playoffs even. They had to fight to get to that point. It wasn't always a promise to them, like maybe, say, the Chicago Wolves, their next opponent, who we're not going to talk about anymore, but they were at the top of the standings all year. That wasn't the case for the IceHogs. They really had to fight, and they had to pull together as a group. They had to find a way to play for each other and play with a purpose, and you can really see, especially in these 2 games in the postseason so far, that that's what they do. They look like a team out there when they are playing their best. It is a thing of beauty. Again, it's only been 2 games because they didn't have to go 3. They completed the sweep in 2 games at home at the BMO Harris Bank Center. It's only those 2 games. It's only 1 series, but it means so much to me, to us as fans, people who support this team. It was a lot of fun being there at the BMO tonight. I can't speak for people who watched it at home, but I'm sure that if you did sit at home and watch this game, that you felt it too. It's just fun to watch this team. And if I keep talking about how amazing they are, I'm just plainly going to get emotional, or more emotional than I already am, and my voice is already destroyed. This could turn into a mess very quickly. So let's pull this thing together and talk about some negatives. I'm mostly joking, but the game wasn't perfect by any means. They beat the Texas Stars tonight by a score of 1-0 in overtime. While the game wasn't perfect, Arvid Söderblom definitely was, and he had to be at many times throughout this game, especially in that first period. The IceHogs were outshot 16-3. And of course, just looking at the shot totals there, you could tell that it wasn't the IceHogs' best period of hockey they have ever played. And it wasn't, and Arvid Söderblom did have to be big in that one, but I don't think that they necessarily looked terrible in that period. There were different things that contributed to that. They weren't as tight defensively as they were on Wednesday in game 1, so they did let more shots through, obviously. But they were also getting some chances of their own. It's just that when they were in the offensive zone, it seemed like they were maybe trying to force it a little too much. They were looking for the pass rather than just taking the shot, and Texas was getting in the way of those passes, so they were intercepting them, taking them back the other way. So while the IceHogs were getting looks, they weren't really completing them, at least to get a shot on goal. So that was a big part of why there was such a big shot discrepancy there, 16-3, is that they weren't really shooting the puck when they had the chance to do so. I mean, give Texas full credit, they were breaking up plays. But had the Hogs just kind of simplified their play there, they would have had at least a few more shots, maybe a goal, maybe not a goal. Matthew Murray played very well in net for the Texas Stars in both of these games. If you recall, game 1 was only won 2-1, and tonight Texas lost 1-0. Matthew Murray allowed 3 goals over 2 games. If you're a team and your goaltender's gonna put up that type of performance, you will take that all the time. It's just unfortunate for him and very fortunate for us that Arvid Söderblom on the other side of the ice only allowed 1 goal all series. Enough cannot be made about the effort he put in this 2-game series that it ended up being. The IceHogs were better defensively in game number 1, but in game number 2, it was the Arvid show, because had he not been as dialed in as he was, this game would have gotten out of hand very quickly for the IceHogs. The Texas Stars could have put up at least 5 goals probably in that first period. Arvid came up with some absolutely fantastic saves, and his rebound control tonight was on point. There were only a few times when his defenseman had to knock away rebounds, but most of the time he was either snagging the puck in his glove or just soaking it up in his equipment. It was very impressive. It's probably the best game rebound control-wise that we've seen from him since he's been in an IceHogs uniform. And that's not to say that his rebound control is typically bad. It's just tonight there was nothing coming off of him. That's as good of a performance as you're ever going to see from a goaltender right there. Thankfully for the IceHogs, they escaped the first period with it being scoreless. So on to the second period they go, and things got a little bit better for them shot-wise. They actually took more shots than Texas did in the second period by a total of 12-11, so they took 1 more than them. But seeing how the first period was, that 16-3 difference, you'll take them having only 1 more shot on goal than Texas, rather than that disaster. The IceHogs were able to generate some pretty good scoring chances throughout this game, too. I know Curtis Gabriel had a couple. That line, once again, with Curtis Gabriel, Garrett Mitchell, and Dmitry Osipov, was just throwing their body around every chance they could, but they were doing it in a way that was very effective. At least Gabriel was knocking people off of the puck. Garrett Mitchell was getting in there and mixing it up. He stole the puck away from a couple guys, and Dmitry Osipov, the same thing. They've had a very good 2-game series against the Stars, and I don't know if it was their play that maybe sort of frustrated Texas a little bit, maybe got them off of their game, but they were very, very effective, and it was fun to watch because they weren't throwing dirty hits, and they were making offensive plays again in this game. Curtis Gabriel had a great chance to score, and Matthew Murray's shoulder just got in the way, prevented it from happening, but wow, that line. They led by example in this series, that's for sure. Even though the Hogs got more shots there in the second period, it seemed almost like it got sloppier. I don't know if it's because they were taking more chances rather than kind of sitting back defensively and allowing the game to come to them, which did result in more shots against than shots that they took. But they, I don't know, it seemed like both teams were maybe a little sloppier, and maybe it had something to do with the long change. Maybe it was nerves on Texas's side, and maybe it was nerves on the IceHogs side. A lot of people would probably say it was a better period overall, but just from where I was sitting, it felt like this game could turn chaotic at any point, and either team could either go off for a bunch of goals or some terrible goal would get scored. There was just some feeling about that second period that I didn't like, so when they escaped that one with this game also being scoreless, I didn't mind that. Of course, I also wouldn't have minded if they had gotten the lead in the second period, but they didn't, so with it being scoreless, perfectly fine. So we entered the third period with the game scoreless, and Texas started pouring it on a bit there in the third period. For the first couple of minutes, it was looking very scary. Full credit to Texas here. They came out and it was a do or die game for them, obviously. In a 3-game series, the IceHogs were leading it 1-0. If they won tonight, which they did, Texas was done, and they came out with a purpose. They were firing the puck at Arvid Söderblom any chance chance that they had, but he was up to the task. I said it on Twitter, but the IceHogs look like a very frustrating team to play against because you get all of these shots, but most of them are from a distance. They did have some very good scoring chances, but again, Söderblom was there to soak them up. But Texas had a lot of offensive zone time, but the Hogs were doing a really good job of pressing them into the boards and really forcing them into board battles, or they were blocking shots. That was another area where Curtis Gabriel was very good tonight. He was on top of it with those shot blocks. But the Hogs grinded this one out, and it looked like they were just trying to frustrate Texas into submission. And maybe that's what they ended up doing, but in the third period, there was one shift where it was just like a switch flipped and all of a sudden it became the IceHogs game and they were just dominating for the second half of that third period. They were holding on to the puck in the offensive zone. They were cycling the puck. They were winning battles to the loose pucks. They were getting shots on net. They were retrieving the rebounds. They were making line changes while keeping possession in the zone. They weren't giving Texas really anything. But again, full credit to Matthew Murray. He stood very tall in net for Texas today. But it felt like, especially there in that second half of the third period, the IceHogs knew what was on the line. If they get just one goal, it could be over. They could finish this series. They don't have to play tomorrow night. Unfortunately, time ran out there on the third period, so to overtime they went. Even though they had some chances on the power play throughout this game, they could have gotten a goal in regulation, but man, the power play was not good tonight. When they were able to, set up in the offensive zone, they were able to generate some chances. Their second power play looked a lot better than the first one did, but when they tried to enter the zone on the power play, it rarely happened. They were fully comfortable doing the drop pass to their friends coming behind them, but when they were approaching the offensive blue line, they weren't passing the puck at all, and they also weren't dumping the puck in, so they were just trying to skate through the line of Texas defenders, and it wasn't working. But that's alright. I'm not gonna harp on that too much because they did end up grinding out this win, so off to overtime. And even though the IceHogs had the 1-0 lead advantage in the series, you really just felt all sorts of anxiety because you didn't want Texas to take this game because then it's down to one game, a must-win for both teams, and that's a lot because hockey is weird, right? Just a weird bounce there, a weird bounce here, and the game doesn't go your way. And when it's a game 3 or a game 7, if that makes more sense in your head if you're just an NHL fan, then, bounces can go either way. So you really wanted the IceHogs to end this game with the win, so it didn't have to worry about that do or die situation. And I think they wanted the exact same thing. Because it only took 56 seconds, Ian Mitchell had the puck in the offensive zone on the blue line, of course. In comes Isaak Phillips. His D partner Mitchell sees him entering the offensive zone, slings a pass over to him. He takes a look, sees his options, sees Dylan McLaughlin open on the left side. Isaak gives Dylan a nice little pass there. Dylan takes a look, looks at the net, says, you know what, I'm gonna try to score this goal, walks in, rips it past the goaltender. The IceHogs win in overtime, 56 seconds into overtime. Nobody could score through 60 minutes, and it took 56 seconds into overtime to finish this one. Hockey is weird, but that's why we love it. And the BMO Harris Bank Center in downtown Rockford, Illinois, was electric. That goal went in, and it was maybe as loud as I have ever heard it in there. The IceHogs fans were so happy. It was like a huge just weight lifted off of me, at least, seeing that puck go in, knowing the IceHogs had won the first round of the playoffs. They are off to the second round. If nothing else, that is huge, especially for so many young rookies and or prospects on this IceHogs team. They played so well to make the playoffs and then win game 1 and then come in, win game 2 when they really had to put in an effort to not let Texas score, and a lot of that was on the goaltender, Arvid Söderblom. Again, I can't say enough how good he was tonight, but it took the other guys not getting too frustrated, not giving up on the game, saying we're never going to get chances or score. They just kept going. They went through the motions of, sitting back defensively when they had to, but trying to push it forward when they could. And eventually they broke through 56 seconds into overtime, and they were so excited on the ice. Everybody in the building was so excited. It has been a rough 2 years with everything going on in the world, COVID and all of that. We are finally back in the building. The team is playing well, and then they score a goal in overtime to win the game 1-0, which won them the series. It's just, you can't feel anything other than just pure elation in that moment. And having the goal come from Dylan McLaughlin, who, like I've said in the previous 2 videos, he does everything for this IceHogs team. He's all over the ice. He's really one of the backbones of this team in the forward group. And the 2 assists coming from the best defensive pairing for the IceHogs, Ian Mitchell, Isaak Phillips, they were absolutely rock solid for the team in these 2 games. Getting Ian Mitchell back for game 1 was a huge win for the team before they won the game. He's had a great season, and that just continued into these first 2 games. Again, him and Isaak were just absolutely fantastic back there on defense. You just felt confident when they were on the ice that things would be okay, and if the puck happened to get through them, that Arvid Söderblom would save the puck and it would just be okay. It's been a long time since IceHogs fans, since we could feel that with this team. It's been a long time since maybe you were that confident in the Blackhawks team. So it was just happy feelings all around, and maybe now I'm just rambling a little bit, but there wasn't a whole lot that really happened in this game, but it was just exciting, and it made me happy. It made all the other fans there happy, fans at home. And if you're an IceHogs fan, or maybe you're a Blackhawks fan who doesn't watch the AHL, but the Blackhawks are done, the IceHogs are still playing. These are your prospects. These guys are going to be Blackhawks. Sure, not all of them, but some of them, a lot of them, have a very good chance to move up and make a big impact on the Blackhawks roster. So seeing them playing so well and meshing together so well and coming together as a team, winning these 2 games, I'm almost out of words to say. It's making me speechless, really. It's fun, and hockey should be fun, and being there for that game was a lot of fun, and watching this team, they have so much talent, but they play for each other, like I've said, and they can really shut down games and shut down their opponents. And maybe when the forwards mess up, then the defense has their back, and if it gets through all 5 guys up front, Arvid Söderblom's got their back there. And this team is never out of a game going back to the regular season. They never quit on a game. Even if, God forbid, the only round they win in the playoffs this year is the first round, this is a special group of players. And now they get a few days to rest and prepare for round number 2 against their I-90 rivals. So, IceHogs fans, enjoy this, be happy, watch the replays if you want to relive that, all of the exciting feelings, maybe catch a few things here or there with the assists or the goals that you may have missed watching it live in the excitement. Just enjoy it, get some rest. We need you to cheer on the IceHogs come round number 2. And Blackhawks fans, we've been through a lot this season. Going back to last offseason, we have been through a lot. It has not been easy on and off the ice. I know that. We've talked about it here, but I am here to tell you the kids are all right. And that, my friends, is something worth smiling about. But that's gonna be all from me in this one, because I could just keep going on rambling about how amazing tonight was and how amazing this team is. But I could talk in circles about that for about 3 more hours and I will run out of space on my SD card. So I'll leave it here at maybe just over 20 minutes and maybe I'll go get some rest tonight, rest up my voice maybe, drink some tea, do something. But this was a fun one. It was a fun series, so be happy about it. But if you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com. There's links to absolutely everything over there. I put up a new podcast episode today, a brand new podcast series, the From Center Ice Happy Hour, so you can go ahead and check that out. There's a bunch of playoff talk for the NHL and the AHL. You can watch it here on YouTube or you can listen to it wherever you listen to your podcasts, as always. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like. That would make me very happy, just like my IceHogs winning this series did. And if you want to follow along on social media, I was live tweeting from the game tonight. There's a video of the celebration after they won. You can go ahead and follow us on all of those places. The links to the platforms are down in the description for you. But all of that being said, thank you so very much for tuning in. It means a lot to me. And get ready for round number 2. I will catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.